Thailand has some of the most vibrant nightlife scenes in the world, yet you don't see tourists getting scared to be drugged or unalived like they do here in Medellin. So what's the difference? You got the same tourists, you got the same nightlife, you have the same sex tourism, but on one side, you know, you have the chance of getting scammed, and on the other hand, you have a chance to get drugged and being unalived. Wow, Medellin, what's going on? Let's talk about that. I'm a world traveler. I'm John. Welcome to Mature Medellin. I travel the world. Right now, Medellin is my home part of the year, and I love to talk to people about Medellin. But not only do I want to talk about the safeties and the differences here within the city, I also want to talk about something real and genuine, which is, what is the city doing? What is the city doing? What could they be doing? Because obviously, I think we could be doing a lot more to protect the foreigners, to protect tourism. Because if we're all being honest, we understand that tourism's a big part of Medellin. Medellin's financial strength and all of that, a lot of that is being driven by the tourists, right? And so what is Medellin doing to protect the tourists? To me, in my opinion, I don't think it's doing enough. So what are the differences? Obviously, Thailand is everything is done openly and publicly, whereas in Medellin, everything is done privately, behind Tinder messages, behind WhatsApp, and behind private conversations. Oftentimes, these guys don't understand this cute little girl is behind the crime organization. And oftentimes, that's the case. There was a recent article that happened where 4 people got arrested, 3 women and 1 guy. They were just constantly targeting these men on Tinder. The story's the same. Men goes on Tinder, they set up a date, or they meet, they go to a bar, they have some drinks, they either go back to his place or her place. Next day he wakes up and all of his stuff is missing. Now that's if he's lucky. If he's unlucky, he's unalived and found 3 days later. Now that's a problem. What is the city of Medellin doing? In Colombia, we have this thing, no dar papaya, don't be a juicy fruit. I understand the concept. I'm a world traveler. I am very careful wherever I go. I use my senses. Whenever I feel something's off, I get out of there. Yet, if you talk to anybody who's ever been drugged or robbed and you ask them, did you ever think this would happen to you? They all answer, I never thought this would happen to me, right? Now, part of it, I do agree, it's their fault. There's certain red flags that you should always watch out for. You know, in Colombia, make sure you're getting a copy of their ID and saving it in the cloud somewhere or sending it to a friend or something like that. And if they're not willing to do that, because women here, they understand how dangerous it is for foreigners. So they should be gladly sending you that document. If they're not, that should be a huge red flag, number 1. Number 2, you should also know, like, don't take 2 women back to your place. Don't take a girl back to your place the first night. There's all these red flags that may be okay where you're from, but in Medellin, you're playing Russian roulette, and I'm being absolutely serious about that. And right now, everybody blames the target, okay? And I don't necessarily agree with that. Yes, the target has something to do with it, meaning me as a foreigner, I have something to do with my own personal safety. But at the same time, the same tourists, if they're going to Thailand, that's what I'm trying to explain. If they're going to Thailand, they're not worried about being drugged or murdered. Oops, unalived. They're not worried about that. They're going there. They might be worried that they're going to end up with a ladyboy, right? They might be worried that they're going to get scammed and be charged extra money, but they're not worried about ending in a ditch somewhere. Because most of the time, that doesn't happen. Obviously, we got the homicide rates that are way different. In Colombia, it's about 11 to 12 for every 100,000 people, which still isn't horrible compared to some of the dangerous cities in the US. But it's 4 to 5 times higher than Thailand. In Thailand, it's only 2 to 3 per 100,000. So the amount of crimes, the amount of violent crimes that's happening, even like armed robberies and violence and things like that, that's way, way lower in Thailand than it is here in Medellin. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, right? Because in Thailand, like scammings happen every day, a lot more frequently. The frequency of scams are extremely high compared to the frequency of druggings and people being unalived, right? What's the government doing about it? They could easily put cameras everywhere in high traffic areas. They could collect IDs when they're entering bars, not just checking, but making a copy, making businesses required to copy these IDs. That would go a long ways in stopping this crime. Or they could even be a lot stricter with the crime, right? Like you might think, well, violence is just natural here in Medellin. We could easily accept the fact that this is the history and we could accept it. Or you could be like El Salvador and say, you know what, this was the past, but no more. And now El Salvador is the safest place in Latin America. Why couldn't Medellin do that as well? Absolutely, Medellin could do that if it was high priority. But right now, they're really focused on embarrassing the sex tourists, you know, posting them everywhere, blanking out their faces and making them look embarrassed in a lineup, you know. You take a photo and they send you back home. Yes, it makes great news. Yes, it makes it look like the city's doing something. But in the big scheme of things, are they doing enough? I personally don't think so. What do you think? Now, I say all of that, and I want to mention that Medellin is still not a war zone. You see a lot of this kind of news, and it's glorified and dramatized, but in reality, it happens very, very infrequently, okay? So I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can't go there, it's too dangerous. That's not the case. But what I am saying is you need to be smart. You need to pay attention to the kinds of risks that's available. Having said all that, I'm not saying Medellin's any worse or any better than Thailand. It's just different. The kinds of crime, the violent crime, the targeting, it's just different than what happens in Thailand. So it's no different than when you go to war, when you go to battle. Let's say you're going into the mountains or you're going into the desert or you're going to the beach. You're gonna have different equipment on and you better know the terrain that you're walking into, right? If you're going to battle at night, you better have night vision. It's the same thing in Medellin. That's why I wanted to make this informed video, because a lot of people don't understand that they're being targeted by organized crime. They feel like these are friendly ladies who might take advantage of them, who might steal from them. No, it's much darker than that. So understand your risks. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe and follow for more.